On today's episode of the Command Center podcast, we talk the unofficial depth chart, which doesn't matter, Tanner?
It don't matter.
Doesn't matter. We're talking about practice. Joe Gibbs and Daryl Green were out there. That's always a lot of fun. What do they call him?
Yeah.
The Joseph.
The Joseph.
And it's game time. We're coming up right around the corner. We got joint practice. It all starts right now. Welcome to the Command Center podcast. I'm Logan Paulson here with Fred Smoot and Santana Moss. Guys, great to see you. And Fred, love the shirt, by the way.
Most definitely. I love walking around with my compadres on my chest.
I thought you liked having yourself on your chest.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Would you get that tattooed on your body?
I'm gonna get your face tattooed right here on my arm.
I mean, that'd be
Come on, man. That's what people doing. Drake got Michael Jackson and Prince and all kind of people tattooed on him.
It's good to be compared to those guys.
See how much backlash you getting for that.
I can always count on Tanner to just keep it the realest.
Tanner gonna always, like, when we up like this, he just gonna bust that bubble. Right?
Yeah.
Bring your ass back.
Also, you sent us a video of your kids and Jaden Daniels doing a dance.
Yes, they were. They did a TikTok.
So let me just set the stage here. So yes, we got a group text, obviously, because we talk outside of this show. And Fred sends a video of two random kids, because I've never met his kids, and Jaden Daniels doing a TikTok dance. So at first I was like, what am I watching?
You did say that.
I was like, what is it?
What am I watching? I was like,
Logan and Jason like, what the hell's going on? and I'm sitting there like, those are Fred Smoot kids.
Yeah.
How could you tell? Because how they looked?
The son looked like a young Fred.
Yeah.
You know,
His face didn't look like you, but his body, his skinny body.
No, most definitely.
So I never saw his daughter before. I never saw his son, but I can tell immediately that little boy looked like a young Smoot that I met in college. And then I looked to the side of him, I'm like, that's a Smoot, because her wingspan was so long. I say she got to be another Smoot. So.
Yep. So my child mother does Jaden hair and the rest of the team hair. And, of course, my son is a big Jaden Daniels fan. And anytime Jaden come get his hair done, he'll do a TikTok with him.
That's pretty cool.
That's dope.
Yeah, that just shows you how down to earth that Jaden is.
I mean, that's really cool. That's really nice.
That's something, too, man. And, like, when we take it for granted because we're probably different guys, but to the caliber of player that Jaden is probably going to be looked at as. We had guys in those shoes that probably would never do that. You know what I mean? So
never do that.
Kudos to that.
The smallest thing, my son will never forget that.
Yeah, and so let me just finish the story. So then I texted. I said, how did you get that worked out? How
did I acquire this video?
And then he just didn't respond to me. And then he responded to Fletch multiple times. And I said, hey, Smoot, how did you get this happen? And then he didn't respond again. So I was just like, what the heck is going on? So I had to wait.
And to the end, you was like, I still don't know what's going on.
I'm sitting there waiting to this day. I got here today eager to action. Like, what the hell?
It just was see, and if it was in TikTok, I sent y'all it in video form.
Yeah.
Like when it's in TikTok form, it had
music and stuff.
Yeah, they had music,
all the stuff.
And they had they.
I'm sure it looked good. Yeah.
It looked good. The username, stuff
and
like
the dance looked good as far. I don't know anything about TikTok.
It was terrible.
Your kids has got that many more followers, huh?
They probably did off of that one TikTok.
That's cool. That's really nice that he does that, and he's a very down to earth guy and. Awesome. And now I know the whole story. Now you know the whole story.
Yeah.
All right. So we got some administrative stuff we got to take care of. We got our historical podcast promo, Hales Tales, right? We're still calling it that?
Yep.
And it is the replacements from 1987. Oh. And it was really funny because, obviously we talked about it and getting ready for this show, but I did a research for one of the quarterbacks, or one of the Super Bowl thing we were doing for a show. And I was like, man, there's only 9 games in the season.
Yeah.
In 1987. I had no idea until I read about it, until we talked about it, that they were all replacements.
They was a strike year. So then they called it. Imagine if we did that today. Imagine if the players say, you know what? We ain't playing. And everybody be like, we got to try out for Washington. Do you know how many people would show up and try to make this team?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. You're talking about every fan's dream.
They have local tryouts now that have 1,000 people come.
But what if it's a tryout where it's a guarantee that 50 of y'all gonna make this team? That's different, man.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you sitting at home being a Daryl Green fan, and Daryl is like, nah, we ain't playing. And then they say, do you want to take Daryl's place? Like, imagine. I'm like, yeah, I do want to take his place, and I'm going to go out there and try it.
It's going to be a bunch of dudes that just came out the bar, just like the movie.
Gold Gym. A lot of Gold Gym dudes.
Straight from the bar.
Yeah.
Had all these dreams about what they used to do or what they did.
Until they high school coach didn't like them.
Well, now it'd be, I think you'd get a pretty good roster because there's the USFL. There's
the minor leagues.
I feel like you get some guys that are still training. But I wonder back then if guys train like that.
Was the USFL around back then?
Because our USFL was around, but I don't think it was created in '87.
It wasn't joint So
No,
that was a different league.
What does that even mean?
No. Think Herschel
So
Walker.
you couldn't get those guys from that league anyway. They was in competition.
They already had
in that
signed.
field. Yeah.
You talking about Jim Kelly,
This is why I
Herschel Walker.
appreciate you, Jason,
These
because we're gonna
guys
fact
have
check this.
already signed up there.
Yeah.
But when I think Jim Kelly, Herschel Walker, I'm thinking 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I was asking though is, well, we're talking about like nowadays you have UFL,
XFL.
UXFL. That league is joint with the NFL. So if something like that happened, we can pull those guys.
Yeah.
Back then, you couldn't pull from that other league. Because,
Motorcycle gang and the dudes at the gym.
there you go.
What we got?
USFL closed in '86.
Oh,
Actually,
so there were a lot of guys
Doug
around
Williams came over from that.
there.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice,
So we got Doug after USFL.
And the Bills got Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then it was the next season. So no, there was no USFL this.
Yeah,
But it was fresh off
there
one.
would have been guys,
This year,
surplus
sure,
guys
yeah.
floating
Yeah.
around.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think that's, I always found that as like this kind of like fun NFL anomaly. You know what I mean? That just existed. And then for the Washington, the Washington football team, the Redskins at the time, to kind of handle that so well. And Jason, our guy, who is the producer on that show, was telling us that they beat the Dallas Cowboys to make the playoffs with scabs, right? Or with replacement players.
Yeah.
And then they got in there, which is crazy.
Yeah, that game didn't determine if they made the playoffs, but them going 3-0, the replacements going 3-0, helped the team make sure that they got there to the playoffs.
You know what?
So,
now that I
and
think
we won
about
the Super Bowl that
and
year.
you said Dallas. It just make me think the fan base has watched us go battle Dallas here and at home so many times. That'll be the one chance that we get to go see them go battle Dallas.
Yeah.
Like y'all go represent the area.
Yeah.
Like we've been repping it for so long. You suit up and you run into Refrigerator Perry over and over again.
Put up and shut up, right?
While I sit here and watch and drink beer. Like, yes, I would love just one Sunday.
Yeah.
Like one Sunday. All those guys that see you in the grocery store in Wegmans, look at you. Like, this is the worst thing I hate when people like they see you and they would scare you up and down, trying to see if they could have played.
Yeah.
No, you could not.
Nah, but a lot of people give you a little props on just, man, I didn't know you was that small. You know, I get that all the time.
Yeah.
A guy, I'm pretty sure they sizing me up because they say that, and I'm like, well, damn, how big you thought I was? You know?
Yeah.
But just to hear that lets me know, like, so all that stuff you had in the back of your head about you being out there, I wonder, does it make you feel like, well, I could do it, or hats off to that dude for being that size?
I think I told you the story before. Like I went, my roommate, my rookie year was in a flag football team, and they were missing a couple guys. And they were like, "Hey, do you want to come out?" And he was not a player.
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll come out." And I'm like the blocking tight end. You know, everyone talks about how slow I am, how trash I am. And I remember got out there and like no one could cover me. I had one-handed catches, and they left the game, and everyone was like, "Man, you're so fast. You're so." I'm like, "Man, you have no idea. You have no idea."
Thank you for building me up right now.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like when people go like pros versus Joes, and they're playing those old Joes from back in the day. It's like the caliber of athlete and physically in the NFL is insane. So when people come up to me and say, "Oh, you got a couple more plays in you," I'm like,
No,
absolutely not, dude.
No, I don't.
Because to be that guy for that long, got to be really locked in, dialed in. But anyway, so that's our Aristotle podcast, and that's the Hales Tales. Really looking forward to that. Hannah does a great job with that. Jason, you do a great job with that as well. And now the second big item on my list is the People's Choice Podcast Awards. And I don't have an update, but Jason says he's got an update.
I got some news for you guys.
Okay, what we got?
What it do?
Our fans are awesome. We made the cut.
Did we make the cut?
Yeah.
Baby!
There you go, Washington.
There we go. We made the cut. We are in the finalist for Best Sports Podcast.
How many podcasts?
There are 10, so it narrowed down from like 20 something to 10. So we made the cut.
We made 10?
Yeah, but if you want to hear kind of like how our fans showed out for us,
Yeah, I want to hear that.
we didn't just make that. We also made Best Overall Podcasts.
Really?
Like
Oh,
of
really?
every podcast ever.
Oh, okay.
This year, like
Wait,
any category, anything. We are in the top 10 voted podcasts.
Next time we
of
out,
all of them.
beers on me. Fans, beers on me.
Hey, that's dope.
There are only 2 sports podcasts that made that. It was us and Fantasy Focus Today, ESPN's Fantasy Football with Field Yates.
Oh, wow.
So we're coming for you, Field.
Yeah, well, we are, Yates. You heard him, Yates.
Right. So, so I assume that means we were at least number 2 in voting for sports since we made our way in there. So how about that?
Great job, guys. Pow.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about. Great job,
Nice.
man.
Jeez.
So here's what happens next. Because this is the people's choice, when you went to vote, you had all those emails, right? Now what they do is this sounds convoluted. I'll do my best to explain it. They're going to send out another email to at least 1/4 of people that voted. So they're going to get 1/4 of people that voted.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the votes will all be from experts, former podcasters.
All right.
So it will be a combination of people's choice and like people that know what I don't want to say know what they're talking about, but are like, oh, this audio sounds great. And they'll know that, right? You know what I mean? So we'll have that.
Wow.
I already feel accomplished.
Yeah, so do I.
So if you voted, keep an eye out.
But yeah, if you're one of
because
those,
we want you to get back in there.
Yeah, if you're one of those 1/4 people that get selected and you vote, like that's going to help us out, right? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. So just check your emails, make sure that someone, if they send an email out to you, you get back in there and vote for us in the sports category and the overall category.
Dude,
overall,
that is,
Hey, I asked that question last time we was on, like, just being like, you know how it's no moral victories, but that's why I asked that question. Like, say if we make the cut, is that a victory, in itself? And, and to me,
it's a big deal. I mean, we beat out the other 30 for 30s from ESPN and stuff, which is wild.
Yeah, I've been saying this wild right there.
So that's very humbling. Thank you guys so much.
No doubt, man.
Please continue to support us. Thanks again, and we'll continue to try and make a great show for you. So that's awesome. Wow, that's a very, very pleasant surprise live on air. So thanks, Jason. Yeah. All right. So now we got to talk about football. Enough about us.
All right, Owen Wilson.
Let's talk about football. Owen Wilson's older, uglier brother. Anyway, so unofficial depth chart came out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And everybody was freaking out about it. And so I think we could just talk about it. It's probably been talked to death, but I just got to say a couple things about this. Okay. So their league mandated to put out a depth chart. Okay.
Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah.
This is not who is going to make the team. It's not who isn't going to make the team.
I ain't revealing anything.
And I have to just say this because it drives me nuts. They still have a joint practice, a preseason game, another joint practice, and another preseason game. And then guess what? One more preseason game. So in terms of evaluation points, like I'm sure Tana and Fred, you can speak to this.
Yeah.
I've been on teams where I thought this dude is a lock.
Yeah.
They biffed a practice, like they messed it up real bad, and they got cut.
You never see he again.
A joint practice or a preseason game. Like how many times have you seen that happen?
all the time.
100 times.
All the time.
And so the fact that this is an unofficial, it's unofficial.
Yeah, that's what said on the top of it. It says unofficial.
It's just important to remember because I heard people on the radio talking about it like, oh, this guy's going to get cut.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Listen, what you're seeing right now is because I am, as a business, I have to push this out.
Yes.
Like, I didn't volunteer this.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you this was what it was. I gave you a first copy of my rough draft, but I haven't gave you my final edition of my book.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
I love that. I love that description. I do think you can draw some stuff from it. Like, obviously, like Brandon Coleman starting at left tackle. I think that shows that they like what he's done. He's been practicing well.
Yeah, he has.
The athlete we've been talking about is there. Does that mean he's going to start week 1?
We don't know.
No, doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
But it shows that they like him. I think another one is Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Right? He's been practicing well.
Yep.
But let's say he goes out and struggles. I don't think he'll do this. But let's say hypothetically.
Yeah.
He goes out and struggles. 10, is he going to start week 1?
9 times out of 10, yeah.
No.
He's struggling in preseason games. So what? We got 2 more.
Yeah.
No, but you gotta look at it like this, man. Like you can look at this. No,
He
honestly,
did
man.
not say what you thought he
I
did.
know, but
You set an alley hoop up.
It was such a good answer. It was such a good answer, though. Because it's true, though. He's probably going to start.
I mean, if he struggled, then we gonna struggle. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. But I look at it like this: some of these guys that it's the obvious. You know what I mean? They stating the obvious about some of these guys, and then it's just another group of guys where you got to think this team is kind of like, I know Coach didn't want to say rebuild, but we basically rebuilt this team.
Retool the whole team.
So you have a lot of guys that I just want to see how they fit in this position right now.
Yeah.
Can they slide out of this spot?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you here because I think you deserve to be here. And by the time we get to day 1, or final cut, did you hold this spot up enough for us to say we're gonna keep you there? And that's how I look at it.
Yep. No, 100%. And just another couple surprising names. Jean-Baptiste, the defensive end.
Yep.
He was hurt for the beginning of training camp, and now all of a sudden he's working with the twos in terms of this depth chart. Like, I think it's good. I think it's also something that Dan said in his presser, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
Is that basically like they want to see this is for the preseason game. So they're going to bump and elevate certain young guys because they want them to play more.
Yes.
Which is smart.
And that's smart. Like, because I'm going to get more work with my veterans at these private practices.
Yeah.
But when we on camera and it's a preseason game, I'm giving guys that might not even make this team a chance to sell themselves so they can get hired by another team.
No doubt.
Yeah, I love that.
See how these guys play in the light. You know what I mean? I mean, practice, we all can go out here and practice, amongst each other. Especially even when those joint practices, some of those guys come out their shell and say, okay, it's time to do it because it's live.
Yeah.
But the real lights and the real bullets fly around when you're on live and you on TV and it's time to go out there and show up and make that first down on 3rd and 1, 3rd and short, something like that. So, I feel like when you see this, as a player, we never heard about this type of stuff because we were so locked in.
I've been saying we didn't care.
And like I shared with you guys my last year here, I didn't know I was on a bubble.
Yeah.
Until a media outlet came to me and said, so how does it feel to be on the bubble? I'm like, oh,
Oh, bubble? Am I on that bubble?
News to me. News flash, which bubble? Air Max?
Yeah. Is it bubblicious? I don't know.
So it was just one of those things, man. As a player, you're locked in. I'm not concerned about what you guys see outside of what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I just know every opportunity is one of those chances for me to go out there and make a statement.
Yeah, and every time they see somebody on the second team or the third team, the first thing that comes to mind is the bubble.
Yeah.
Like, some of these guys are not on the bubble.
Not a bubble.
They are true rotational players.
I think that's the other thing that's interesting too, is like because of how they run their defense and because of how much depth they have at certain spots, like you're going to see guys that are like down the depth chart, like supposedly, play more as like you're like you could be the third safety, but you're the first dime linebacker.
Thank you.
Or you're the backup, whatever it is, right? So you're going to see a lot of that kind of stuff going on. So again, it's a good kind of data point, but again, this is going to, I think, change quite a bit as we go on. But today we got practice going on. In addition to this coming out, this is Tuesday. Yeah. And Joe Gibbs and Darryl Green are out of practice today.
Let me tell you how to pronounce that. The Joseph. All right. The Joseph was here today. Darryl Green was here today. That's nostalgia. That's winners. They will remind the fan base, we was great at one time. This is where we're trying to get back to.
It's great just to even hear that Darryl Green is around again. Cause
that's right.
Yeah, we know how the relationship
He took a hiatus, man, and say, hey, I'll holler at y'all when I holler at y'all.
Yeah, most definitely. So good to see them back, especially on the same field. I'm sure the fans really enjoyed that. We enjoyed seeing the old ball coach talk a little trash to him like I always do. So I enjoyed it, man.
What does he do when you talk trash?
He laughs.
Does he?
He giggles.
I asked this question to myself, because I just had to answer it myself because I knew what the answer was. And the question was, do Fred talk like this to everybody?
I guess so.
And it's yes. It's not a person that he don't go to and talk crap with. And I'm like, bro, how do you not kind of divide it, say, well, these guys are my elders. Let me bite my lip a little bit for how I speak or greet these guys.
Like Coach Gibbs got a serious funny bone and don't know. Most people don't know it because they don't talk to him like that. I remember. Because one thing about Coach Gibbs, he gonna work you.
Yeah,
he gonna work you. Like he don't care about that. It was storming one day. Okay. I say before we go out to practice, Coach, the fellas think, it gonna rain. We probably shouldn't go out there and practice. I'm the guy they send to Joseph. Yeah. He like, nah, this Washington weather. All right? We're going to play in it this weekend. We're going to practice in it today. So we go out and practice, start raining. But one thing that'll stop practice is that lightning. That lightning hit. Doo-doo! I looked at Coach. He looked at me. I said, it took Jesus. It took Jesus to send lightning to get us out the field. You should be ashamed of yourself. He just laugh about it all the time. He talk about it all the time. Like he has a true funny bone.
So he doesn't get annoyed, though. He's like, he's laughing about it.
One of the things about him, man, and he told us a cool story about Fred was back by this time. He said he had to separate. There's going to be guys that do things differently from the other guys. You know what I mean? I can't pigeonhole everybody.
Make all us the same.
I can't make all us saints. I can't say I need you to do what Randall L's doing. I need you to do what this guy's doing. You're going to do what you do. As long as we on the same page between the white lines, I'm cool with that.
I don't care.
He's one of those guys. He's one of those guys he allowed to, hey, man, that's Fred Smooth. He gonna
just let him be who he is.
And once he get out of line, he gonna get on you.
Yeah, he gonna get on you.
He gonna get on you.
That takes a mature coach, I think, to do that. And I think it's one of the reasons they're so successful.
That's why he won them championships.
Yeah, he's a championship coach.
He knew how to be he's a people person. He know how to Man, he's one of those guys that he reads guys differently than I've ever seen from any coach. He know how to read you, bro.
Yeah, and that's why he's so successful in NASCAR. He had to take those same people skills, and I was talking to him. He was like, man, I train my pit guys just like football. He said most of the pit guys that work in the pit are ex-football players.
Wow.
There was a guy out here at practice the other day kind of to come to talk to the team about, like the details, and he was a pit guy. He was like the director of the pit crew for NASCAR. Yeah. And he was saying like, detail. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting was just like the crossover with football.
Yes.
A lot of football players.
He say most of Coach Gibbs say all of my pit stop guys play college football.
Yeah. He said 90%. He said 90% of their guys do it. So maybe Gibbs.
Because you got to realize they picking up them big old gas tanks.
But that's news.
But also we used to working together. The one thing you could put us in is a room and say, y'all figure it out. Yeah. And we'll do that.
Yeah. So that's super interesting. And also like it's just great to have them back around.
Yeah.
And, I kind of wonder, as a player, like some of these guys are so young. Do they know who Joe Gibbs is? Do they know who Dale Green is?
It's their parents' nostalgia.
Yeah, but I was going to say it's good for the fan base to see him out here. It's good for the organization that they're back around. Like you were saying, like some of those guys have been gone for a minute. So.
Yeah. And you don't know, because I know a lot of those guys didn't know who we were. Yeah. Like, let's be honest. I walked across here a couple times. I'm saying hey to everybody, being the guy who I am. And they like, hey, and I'm like saying 10. They like,
oh, who are they?
Moss? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. And then you see the eyes get a little bigger, like, what that? And then it's crazy because Mike Sanders still, he started following me like the next day. And I'm like, he just found out who I am. Yeah. And he showed me a little message. I'm like, see, that's dope. Because he's also an ex-receiver, So it's crazy
cool,
that these people really these kids don't know.
Because we time-stamped. We time-stamped. And that's what it is. But guess what? Keeping them, the youth knowing who we are. Podcasts like this,
social media,
because now they get to see us in a different light, but they still know who we are.
Yeah, that's true. So I thought that was kind of cool. And again, this is Tuesday was the last practice leading into the joint practice. So they had Wednesday off. I think it's a travel day. They're going in Thursday. They got practice against the Jets. I know, like Fletch was talking about how much he hated joint practices. Yeah.
I'm with him with that.
Tanner hates them too.
Why is that?
So I'm very routine. And I feel the joint practice is almost a game kind of. You got to have a game mentality, and it's hard to get in that game mentality as I'm practicing because I'm coming on and off. In the game, it's one. We in here. We locked in. Yeah. In those joint practices, you got to know when I got to turn this thing up and when I got to chill out. Yeah. And it's hard to do that with me. Once I'm up, I'm up. I got to keep going. Yeah. I can't say, okay, this drill here is going to be a little lighter. Yeah. No, I'm in game mode, right? Yeah. So I hate it because I think it was one of those situations where, when I'm in my game mode, anything's open. Everything is open. Like if you want to fight, let's fight. If you want to do this, let's do that. You know what I mean? But practicing, trying to get a good rep, trying to show these guys a good look, and knowing that they want to win and I want to win, it's almost setting me up. You know what I mean, for failure. So I hated it because I just felt like it was one of those situations where you're gonna put us out there. Everybody has egos. You have all these alphas. Somebody gonna break out into a fight, and you telling us to, have control. What you call it?
Control chaos.
Bingo. Mm-hmm. There you go. And it's impossible. So when I'm watching these other guys, these other teams having these joint practices, and I'm seeing the fights, I'm just shaking my head because I'm like, when is this gonna stop? I mean, I understand it's good. It's good football. It's good for the off season. It's good for the preseason, but to me, I feel like it's just one of those things, man. Just let us play in the preseason and keep it moving.
Yeah, I think a couple things. One, I agree 100% with what you're saying. I remember the first time we had a joint practice was against Houston, and we were doing like kickoff coverage.
Oh, was that the D-Hall?
Yeah, that was like the third day. Right. Yeah, so we were having practice. We were doing kickoff coverage, and I remember being out there, and our special teams coach had told us the tempo was like 70%. Yeah, but we're not going to contact. And so you start running down there. And all of a sudden, they start running down there, and you're like, is this dude about to hit me right now? Yeah. Because he told us one thing, but what do they know?
Yeah. You know what was they told?
And then all of a sudden, to my left, some dude just gets smoked. Yeah. I didn't get hit because the other guy, he let up. But, like, this dude got knocked out, almost knocked out. Yeah. And I was like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? And so so another funny story. We had one with New England, right? And so we have 7-on-7.
I was here for that one.
You remember that one?
Yeah.
We had 7-on-7.
I was
And get this. And so they bring over their two outside linebackers who basically play like DN. Yeah. So it's 9-on-7. Yeah. And if you were attached to the formations like a tight end, they would basically jam you to the middle linebacker who would hit you as hard as they could. It was basically like getting double viced. Yeah. And so we couldn't run any of our concepts because the guys inside couldn't get off. Yeah. And I remember like the referee would throw a flag, like pass interference. and Belichick be like, pick it up.
Yeah. We don't care.
Yeah, like
that ain't how we play football.
And so it is a little bit of a tempo thing.
Yeah.
So as a player, it's tough sledding because you're gauging tempo. I know you like it.
Yeah.
But as an evaluator, I was going to say, I love joint practice.
I can say, at the end of the day, we talked about that organized chaos.
Yeah.
There's protons, neutrons. They are organized chaos.
What are we talking about?
I enjoyed it because I got tired of running behind Tanner and running behind.
Talk smack to somebody else. That's all.
That's what I want. I want some fresh faces.
Did you get in fights at joint practice? Like when you were talking all this noise to people?
You know what?
You got to think about it. Smoot one of those guys, even when he's talking smack, you're laughing
like
at
funny.
it.
Yeah.
It's
like good-hearted. Yeah.
I'm not demeaning.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not demeaning talking
It's not like
trash.
mean. It's not like.
I'm trying to get their focus on me.
Yeah.
However I can get your focus on me. If it's a conversation where I had a wide receiver tell me this. He was like, dude, I have never been jammed by somebody and had a conversation. 15 yards down the field. Because I can talk and run. Most people can't talk and run. Because it all started with you jam somebody, you're like, oh yeah, where you going? Huh? I'm right here on you. What you gonna do? So then I was like, I can just do this and talk regular. How about I just, man, did you see Martin the other day?
I tell you one thing about those joint practices though, especially what we're probably gonna expect to see from ours, being in the seat that we in now. I remember Belichick speaking highly of Kirk Cousins. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Doing that joint practice. He said some things about Kirk, and I was saying, everybody was like, well, we see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was just obvious that Kirk went out there.
see it.
Kirk went out there and executed fine. And then, a lot of times when he was out there, they was bringing those look at Robert, and Robert to take off and run.
Oh, and sell more sell.
And it was great for the fans.
Yeah.
But, as being a receiver out there, he like, well, I just ran this route for nothing. You know what I mean?
I remember being there.
Yeah. So
I was doing the
Oh, you
reporting.
watching it?
Yeah.
I was doing the reporting, and I said, I have never seen a quarterback running self on self, but he was running, but it was to this roar of the fans.
Yeah.
I know.
He would put on the show.
Oh, listen, and I was like, look at that, Bobby, 3 sticks. Because the emotion was there, the drama was there, and because he was posted in this, he go, your savior, everything that he just out there and he pumping them up, and I'm like, I don't know how good this is because this is 7-on-7. You should be throwing the ball, young man.
Yeah, or trying to throw the ball.
Yes,
We went out there and took it to him though too, because we took that into the preseason game, and we really showed up in that preseason game against.
I felt like those guys were so tired because they had the reputation at the time of just having a murderous training camp.
Yeah.
So for them, it was kind of like being on vacation. And when they got to the preseason game, they were they had to practice the day before, the morning of the game.
Yeah.
And so guys were out there dying. I remember one year we had a preseason game against Tampa Bay. Who was that college coach that was down there? Who was from Rutgers? Remember him? He was
you start with an S.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Sirianni? Yeah, Sirianni. So it's the 4th preseason game. I'm your boys out there because I don't miss a 4th preseason. I'm in there. I'm in there getting work. and so thank God our coach, I think it was Mike at the time, was like, hey, you guys going to play. Take care. You don't have to do the practice the day before. I was like, great. So I was out there talking with my buddies. He's like, we had a full speed tackle to the ground practice at 12 o'clock today. Yeah. Mind you, this is the day of the game.
Yeah.
So those boys are coming out there on some double day stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I was on a dry block on some guy, and this dude could not catch his breath. He just was loose.
Take me away, Calvin.
Yeah. And I would just
take me away.
Throw him on the ground. You just hear this ugh. And it's just his soul left his body because they can do they can do you wrong, man.
I know.
Man.
I felt like that my rookie year with Marty Schottenheimer. I remember coming into that first preseason game. I was like, I know my left leg has to be 3 inches tall because he done ran him into the ground. That's when two-a-days were two-a-days too.
Yeah.
And it was physical to a point where I was like, you know what?
It's too much.
I know this is my first training camp. I might need to rethink this thing and be a lawyer.
Isn't that crazy when you have those moments? You're
that moment.
This is the best job all time, but
all time.
We all had that time.
But training camp, I tell people all the time, people don't retire away from football just to retire away from football. They retire from training camp.
Hey, either training camp or you get an injury. Because I remember I got hurt in my first training camp.
You're just
so I remember just sitting there by myself. The team is off playing, and I got this brace on my leg, and I'm like,
oh, when you're watching on TV?
so is this gonna be what I'm gonna be doing?
Is this who I am?
This is so I'm not gonna ever. I'm deep in my head. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's why I say I give so much credit to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, why I never looked at you bigger than this person and me bigger than
Yeah.
you. Because I feel like it takes a lot for a man to be out here in this uniform.
Period.
Because there's so many mind games we go through. You might think that, Tanner had no worries. Bro, I've been worrying all my life.
Everybody.
I worried from the day that I told myself I was going to be here to the day I got here, and then I still worried until I left. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those situations, man. Hats off to anybody that ever got a chance to suit up, because it's a serious ball game, man. And it's one of those things. It's a life changer.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're playing or not. You know, you got to wake up and say, okay, it's over.
Yeah.
You either living your dream or you losing your dream.
Yeah.
And this make your reality a lot different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we got a little sidetracked there talking about the preseason and stuff like that. But let's talk about joint practice a little bit more. And so one of the things that I hear people say, or you might hear on TV, right, is that joint practices are better than preseason.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons you get that is, did you have a joint practice, Fred?
Oh yeah, we joint practice with the Ravens all the time.
So the good thing about a joint practice is schematically, I can do more stuff.
Yes.
I can run my actual offense. I can run my actual defense.
I can do more scouting of my true team.
That's exactly right. And I can evaluate not only the players, but I can evaluate the coordinators, whether like this scheme's going to work. I can evaluate my kickoff stuff.
And I can evaluate your players.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, see, that's what you forget.
100%.
Right, because we know how you play here one day, you go on the next. I get to evaluate you in high pressure situations.
Yeah.
If I want to see if my tackle can handle an A+ pass rusher, well, if the Jets or the Ravens got one, and I'm going to, yes, I want you to go against him 5 or 10 times. I want to see what you got against a guy like that. Oh, you finna be our starting corner? I want to see, can you take on number ones? Go check their number one. Like, I can do different tests that I can't do with my own team.
In the preseason, you can't do it. Right? Like, let's say I want to work 2-minute ones versus ones. I can't do that now, like really effectively.
Not on TV, I can't.
Right, right, exactly. So I think that's something that, again, where the value is. And the other thing that I think that's important is, like, especially with stuff that Dan's been saying, is like he wants to use this as an opportunity to evaluate players, their players, our players, scheme, but also as a kind of a dress rehearsal for the coaches. Like, hey, let's work 2-minute, let's work subs, let's work all these different things that we can get in before the preseason. And again, because we got more offense in, it's going to feel more realistic to the game.
Yeah, I think that's valuable too, because, you know, one of the things that we always, you know, made aware of is like these games are generic. You know, those preseason games are generic. They're not going to show you those looks, those funky looks defensively or offensively.
Yeah.
So when you can do it, when you say, okay, we against another team, so it's almost like a live game for us, but it's just in the practice, you know, because we have this joint practice. I think that's very valuable, and those are the times too, like we talked about earlier. Them are the times when you find a guy or two and say, okay, this is the guy that I might want to see in a situation come this weekend, because he just showed us something, you know, against these guys live in practice.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the other interesting thing and other interesting thought here is like both joint practices I did in my career, or all of them, all three of them, were home. This one's away. How do does it mean anything? Is it important?
I like it when the team come together. And when we on the road, it's the perfect team, because you got nowhere to go. You got nothing to do. All right, we're going to do this for the next couple of days, then we're going to go play a preseason game. So it forces us to spend time together, especially a team as new as this. Like, regardless of the old guys we had, we still assembled so many pieces from other places. The more time they can spend together, I don't care if it's bowling, walking, or scrolling, I need them to spend time together, and on the road is the best time to do it.
It all depends too, just how they're gonna do it. So if you have so I remember when my first joint practice, when I was in New York, the Jets, we rode all the way over to Albany, I think it's Albany, New York, where the Giants was practicing that, and we had a joint practice against them. I was going there with a, you know, kind of hitch in my, you know, get up or whatever, and I remember listening to Lionel Richie the whole ride. I was in the dumps.
So when you in the dumps, you reach for Lionel?
I didn't reach for him. It just popped up, and I listened to him the whole time. You know, he had that iPod when it first came out.
The first iPod.
The first iPod.
Yeah, most definitely.
Lionel Richie came up, and I had the greatest hits of Lionel Richie, and I was sad as all outdoors. And I remember going out there having to practice, because I'm saying to myself, I just come off a knee some years ago, and now I got this, you know, hamstring that's bothering me. I got to go out here and go in. And I went myself, but I did drills. I didn't do anything too vigorous on it, but it's just one of those things. Like, that ride took forever.
Right.
So I remember sitting in that bus like, man, we got to go way up here, get off the bus, and go practice. And I'm not sure we stayed that day or we came right back. I think we came back that night. So we had a whole full practice coming back. And then I get here, in 05, and we take a trip to go over to Baltimore.
Yep.
That was a much shorter trip.
Yep.
And that was in and out. We got it in, got it there. We broke camp and had a good time. So it just all depends on how camp is going for you as a player and how the camp is set up, as a whole, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. And again, like, it brings them together. It is a little bit of adversity, right? Kind of new environment, but I think the way Dan's handled up there is probably pretty smart. So, like, we're not going to be driving. We're going to get to the hotel. We're going to have practice. Then we're going to have the day off before the game, meetings and stuff like that. And then we're going to have the preseason game. So I think it's going to be handled well. I think people are smarter. We don't want long road trips.
But also, he said this is not just about the players. It's about the coaches learning their game routine, going against other coaches.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think that should be said, especially when you're dealing with a new coaching staff.
Yeah,
100%. And I think that leads us really nicely into the preseason game. And so I think if you're a fan watching, and this is a question, what are some things you guys watch for when you're watching the preseason game?
I'm watching for the youth to go out there and show me what you do when the lights are bright. To us, it's just another game. To them, it could be your last time living your dream on this field. It could be the beginning of something special.
Yeah.
I want to see who wants to be a part of this 53. And if you're a fan, take your feelings out of it. I know fandom is short for fanatics. Take it out. Control your emotions. Look at the game studious. Say, my offense going to be calling bland plays. My defense going to be calling bland plays. So really, it's a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. Who is physical and who is not. All right? And who going to make a couple big plays.
I knew that we was going to be a little off of how we look at things because I just know you as a person and I know me as a person. I'm always that, I don't need much. I just need the right stuff. You know what I mean? To see what I want to see. And
you're a different player. Yeah.
So just you asked that question, and I'm looking for detail, lineman assignment, how we get out of the huddle as a unit, as a team. I'm not really looking for individuals to shine. Yeah. Yes, you're going to have that chance, but I want to see as a team, are we moving to the same tempo?
Yep.
You know what I mean? How far we have to go, and how far have we come from the first day of training camp until now? So, as a coach, if I was a coach, that's what I want to see my team. I want to see us moving in the same direction. I feel like if we're moving to the same tempo, then of course we're going to be on point when it's come to time making the plays and doing stuff like that.
Good point, because if your third screen is getting in and out the huddle, crossing the T's, dotting your I's, well, your first screen is.
Yeah. You're well taught. Yeah. I think that's one thing when you hear coaches get frustrated in the preseason game, it's like, man, these guys really care about this. It's more like a barometer for your program. Yeah. Like how you look. Yeah. And I think that's the thing I look at. Like, I want to see, again, like if you're looking at the offense, right, you're going to see like day 1, 2, 3 install, like pretty vanilla, pretty basic stuff, but alignment, split, spacing, is the quarterback on time? How are the protections? Are there free runners? Like, do we understand what we're doing?
Making a tackle.
Yes.
Like doing the stuff it's supposed to be. Like easy stuff. Staying on that block. Keeping your feet where they're supposed to be. Keeping your hands inside. Small things.
Even if you didn't make the play or the block, you knew where to go at. You was going in that direction. That guy just, outwilled you or did something that, that he was supposed to do. So I look for all that. Same thing.
Yeah, and I think obviously talent's a big part of that for sure. And one thing I wanted to ask you guys, but I forgot to ask you in the joint practice part. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play in the preseason game. They just announced that, right?
Yep.
But one of the things about joint practice is you get to see that good quarterback.
That's what I've been saying.
And so, like, what is the expectation for the defense? And I also think it's really interesting, too. This is just a thought I had right now while we're thinking about it, is you get to compare Jaden Daniels to Aaron Rodgers. You get to see them throw for throw, live and in living color, which I do think is a really excellent barometer. Like with Robert down in – when we were in Richmond, it was Tom Brady. It was like, like that's what that's supposed to look like.
Oh, no, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, right.
And what greatness looks like.
I think that's another thing for the quarterback specifically, but what does it mean for the defense?
I'm going to say this, too. That wasn't fair for Robert. No, I mean, honestly. And you got to think about it.
It's not fair for anybody. Though.
No, bingo. It wasn't fair. But, I want going to this joint practice saying that I'm going to be trying to compare Jaden to the old
Aaron.
The old what you call them, double check?
Yeah, discount double check.
Discount double check. I won't compare it to him, but it would be great to see how Jayden rise to the.
I was just saying, like a measuring stick. I'm not saying like a 1-to-1.
I want to see him say, okay, look across the field and say, I got to go out there and make a play.
Right.
Do it your way, but make a play. You see what I'm saying?
I want him to say, I want to learn from how he do things. Mm-hmm. If I'm a coach, especially if I had Tom Brady, and I'm like, I got Robert, I'd be like, Robert, pick his brain.
Yeah, pick his brain. Watch what he's doing.
Watch how he does stuff.
That's a great
Watch
point.
what he does. So I want you to mimic him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also like, they're going to go down to Miami, and Tua just got paid this big contract. Like, how does he do it? It's good that he's going to see good quarterbacks along the way, and it's good for the defense that they're going to get to see Aaron Rodgers.
And just one of the things that we've been hearing already, man, from Jaden, and it's not something that we're going to sit here and toot his horn, because I think it's too premature to do all that, man. But everything he's been displaying this far, all the vets, Terry and those guys on the other side playing defense against him, they just say he do everything right. He's a guy that ball placement, the way he get the ball out of his hand, the things like he has players gravitating to him. When you when you hear people saying that you're gravitating to your quarterback, he's the puppet master right now. He's doing his job, because that's what you want. You want the team to be with you in unison, and I think that's great for a young guy. We play with a lot of young guys. I played with Jason Campbell. I didn't gravitate to Jason Campbell. I was
Jason quiet, standoff.
Jason, to this day, I can say this to him because that's my dog. I love Jason, but we was like, Jason, wake up. We out here. We over here, And it's like the reason I'm saying is because younger guys take it on differently. You understand? And it's a hard task to sit there and say, this organization is on my shoulders. Now what do I do? You got to have a guy with a different kind of personality, and I think the world of Robert for the way he handled it his first year, even though he did it differently, and it was like watching a guy who was leading a rock band at times.
Oh yeah, he was Aerosmith.
But he went out there and balled. You see what I'm saying? So for him to go out there and stand up in the paint, kudos to Robert for doing so. But I know it was a task, and when things hit the fan, that's when we realized, like, okay, that armor a little punctured now. Like what can you do now? You see
adversity. Everybody don't bounce back well from adversity. Adversity is a test of life. All right? You've been used to it going this way, but now it's going this way. What your butt gonna do?
Right, and I think, obviously, like we talked about Aaron Rodgers, talked about adversity, talked about Jaden Daniels, the guys that are going to make this roster, right? But I also think the great thing about the preseason, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to worry about the preseason because they're going to take care of him all the way through, right? And even really Jaden Daniels, second overall pick. But there are a bunch of guys in this first preseason game that are putting that kind of first stamp on the resume, basically saying, I deserve it. Are there any bubble guys that you're looking at and you say,
I don't like to just say a guy's on the bubble, because with this new coaching staff, like if this coach staff had been here 4 or 5 years, I think we would have a better feel of who's on the bubble and who's not.
But what about a guy like Bryson Tremaine? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like Bryson Tremaine has been making plays. The question in Bryson Tremaine is not how well he making plays at wide receiver. What is special teams?
What else can he do?
That's the question.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a dude who's been balling, right? He looks good. Been making plays. How does he make the team? He comes out on teams and throws down and makes some plays on offense.
Can he be a gunner?
Yeah. Or I think he's been working at PP too. He's been doing some different stuff.
Personal protector. Can he block a gunner? Like, you got to have some in your repertoire that says, you know what, I do play receiver, but I want to be like Pringle, and I want to stay on these rosters from playing special teams.
I think the door is wide open for anybody, especially this first preseason game, already knowing a little bit in detail that how we're going to, have things going when it comes to the first team, second team, and third team. So what I would be looking for is just those guys who are going to get most of the reps, the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s. The ones already out the picture.
You're saying all of them.
All of them. I'm gonna watch them in a game setting now. Here you go. This is your real game. It's not a preseason game for you guys. This is your time to show me that you deserve to be on this roster, because we got guys who we already believe that's going to make this roster. They're not playing. So this is your chance to say, okay, it's on me. I get to start. I get to rotate. I get to go out here and make these plays. How do you take on the stuff that we're giving you, and how can you translate it to the football field?
Is there one guy in particular you're like?
I think if I look down this list, I'm gonna call some of these names. They're gonna be obvious, but I'm gonna do so because I want to see them. Jamin Davis. He's with the 2s.
Speak your name or forever hold your peace.
Sorry to cut you off, Tanner, but you got to rush the passer. And this is your time in game to do it.
Yes, right now. And this going to be the easiest pass rush you do of the whole year. Next.
Right. He's one of them. Hey, it's the elephant in the room. Forbes.
Yeah.
Hey, let me see you. You're going to be out there. You with the 2s.
I think they want to see Forbes fail and stand back up more than they want to see him succeed.
Yeah.
They want, because a DB is not. It's like being in the batters box.
Yeah.
I don't need but three or 10, and I'm an all-star. Like the one thing I can say all good cornerbacks do well is their short memory.
Yeah.
You can burn me for an 80-yarder, and I act like it ain't never happened. Right? And that's what they want to see from forward. Next.
And then you got guys like Trent Scott, right tackle.
Yeah.
You have Diami Brown.
I would say, don't leave Diami Brown out
I'm
there.
going to get to the receivers.
Diami's interesting to me,
This
man.
is like one of those situations right now when it comes to so many guys. When you have Zacchaeus, you have Pringle back, Diami, they're dangling those guys back here for a reason because they're going to let you know that, hey, we want the best core we can build. You know what I mean? So he has to shine and step up right now in the preseason, show he can do something other than being a receiver. Maybe he makes the team that way. So those are fruit guys, you know what I mean?
For Darian Mathis.
For Darian Mathis too.
Don't forget for Darian Mathis.
He's a guy that's kind of, down
right in the
depth
middle.
chart. Yeah, he's down the depth chart. But so I think that's the obvious because, like I say, you coming into this first preseason game, when you already have a format set up, these are guys going to get the most reps.
Yeah.
Now, how well can you go out there and do what we ask you to do?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like, I couldn't have said it better myself. Just a couple more names that I want to see.
Yep.
Chris Paul, can he play both right and left guard, right?
Yep.
And then of the tight ends, like, we've got those three dudes at the bottom, Yankoff, Turner, and Armani.
Yeah.
Like, which one of those three
sticks out?
Yeah. So I think they're probably going to keep four based on how they're using.
Who was the guy that we all loved that didn't play last year? Armani, right?
No, it was Armani and Cole Turner.
But Rodgers, though. It was Rodgers.
Monta Rodgers.
So Rodgers was the one that had a stellar 21 season or 22 season? 22 season. And last year he got hurt.
Yeah.
I like that guy. I want to see him.
So do I.
Cole Turner, too. Like, Cole Turner has been turning heads since he got here at this time of year.
Yeah.
Like, the question is, and you brought it up, can you do it when it counts?
And be consistent.
And so I think those three guys, and then the other one would be Chris Rodriguez for me, man, because he's a guy that I think I've talked to him a couple times. Great kid, works hard, and his play style doesn't show up until he's in pads.
Yeah.
And so this is the first time they're going to be in pads against another team and get that big body rolling down.
The physicality that he runs with.
And I think he could open some eyes here in pass protection, catching the football, and again, like, I think he made the team last year because he ran hard. It was against Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
Made them look like So does he do the same thing now? Does he have the opportunity? Because it's going to be tight window for him to make the team.
Also, I want to bring up Andrew Jones Jr.
Yes.
I think
Andre Jones.
Andre Jones. Yeah. Like, is he a guy? I love that guy. Great personality, length, speed. Can he turn the heads of these coaches? Like, that's what I think this is pretty much the most even playing field you could ask for in the NFL.
And then you got to understand, too, like, this is the thing that gets tricky because I remember being on a team like this where you have a new staff.
Yeah.
They don't owe you nothing.
They don't owe nobody nothing, but that's what I'm saying. This is the most even.
So it's one of those things like, man, look here. I can't take these opportunities lightly. This is like, this has my whole livelihood riding on it. So every opportunity I'm out there, I got to put good stuff on tape.
And then I think we talked about pretty much every position, but the safety spot for me, Jeremy Reeves is the 2, right? Dominique Hampton, Percy Butler, Tyler Owens has had a really nice couple weeks of practice. Does any one of those guys say, hey, look at me, I'm knocking really loud, I deserve to be on the
Tyler Owens making a couple plays, and you brought it up. Percy Butler is a guy that played a lot of football last year. You drafted Hampton, like Derek Forrest, like Defoe, like is a guy that's in a fight right there.
Yeah, so that's why I think this first preseason game is always so much fun, is because it's fun because you get to see everybody for the first time, right? It's football. But also, these are the things that we've been following the team for a long time. When we finally get some type of answer, some type of direction, and hopefully these guys seize that opportunity.
Were
and
you
really
shocked
make things go.
to see Igbenogany returning kickoffs?
He's the number 19, right?
Yes, he's the kickoff returner at number 1, not Kazir Allen.
Yeah. So
I'm not shocked because I think he has a thicker
He's a big
body,
guy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, big guy, and I think he's done a really nice job at nickel.
Yeah.
And so if he's going to be your backup nickel,
Yeah.
like he's got to play teams.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking for a return, I think with the kickoff stuff, I've been saying this for a couple weeks now. I think you want a bigger body, especially after watching that Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
Like
That
You
was
need somebody
obvious.
to break.
Dude,
You need
you
somebody
need-
that can break 2 tackles.
I watched your boy who was here with us run that first kickoff. What his name was? Number 82 for the Texans. He was 86 for the Texans, I believe. 82 or 86.
Was he a wide receiver?
He played here. He played receiver here. What's his name?
Sims?
Sims. There you go. Dang,
Yeah, all right, Sims. I didn't see
Sims
it.
got that first one, and I watched the body fall, and he was going in that hole.
Yeah.
And I'm like, see, that's where you need a running back at.
Because he'll put that foot in the ground.
He jumped.
Yeah.
But a running back gonna run through that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you need, for those, like I watched that thing very carefully, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do a takeaway from a guy like Reeves who run down the field and make plays.
Yeah.
And on the kickoff side of it, and then I want to do a takeaway from a
the
guy
returner
who's running the ball, who's a much lighter guy, who's faster and quicker. Where does he stand when it comes to just how tight these holes are going to be tight? So you're going to have to come in with different kind of counters and plays.
It feels like a job for whoever your third down back is, that back that can catch out the back. It look like a job for Eric Metcalf. It look like a job for Dave Meggett. This what type it does. This is it's a funny thing about it. B. Mitch would have been perfect to run these kickouts back. And he would have been
his running. I actually remember I was watching the Hall of Fame game, and I was like, I had the same thought. I was like, that downhill attacking style of B. Mitch would kill in this system. Because think about it, if you get through that line,
if you make two people miss, one person miss,
it's you and the kicker.
Yeah, I was more of a scatter. That's why I did kickoff all the way up until I did it in my first year in the league as well, but I couldn't deal with this stuff. I'm watching this. I'm like, bro, I don't like this. Like, I need room. You know what I'm saying? I need to make one guy miss and then get
that's why you're better.
Turn on the speed boosters or whatever. But yeah, it's just like you need a back, bro. You need somebody that's shifty and has a gear too. That once he gets past that line, man, it's all hell break loose.
Honestly, I thought like Chris Rodriguez, like how he runs would be perfect. Yeah, like just put your foot downhill. We're having a car crash. If you turn it down, I'm scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, like, that's it. Because
I've watched when I was covering the XFL. This is how the return was.
Yeah,
and I thought, you can do some trick returns. You can like reverses and the gap schemes,
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. But then the coverage guys are too fast now.
Yeah,
they're too fast. They're too good. So you got to be a little bit more, I think, stylistically change.
I think you got to put some strength out on that speed.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So the other big thing we're talking about for the preseason game is it looks like Jaden's going to start.
Yep.
Over Mariota.
Shocks no one.
Shocks no one. Maybe does it matter? Is it important? And what do you want to see?
Well, we probably not going to see much. I said that before, but it's one of those things too, man. Do they give him a couple of plays? Like when Robert started, I know this is a different time. That first group went out there that first game and went out there and ran about 10 plays. And it was a nice one because I think we drove down the field and scored.
Right.
I remember Pierre scoring a touchdown. So, it's one of those things you will want to see that. But I think having this joint practice, you get a chance to really probably see it then. And then probably this first preseason game, you say, okay, well, we saw enough in the joint practice. We don't need to see it for the first preseason game. Because there's going to be that game that comes up where everybody's going to play like a half.
That's the second game.
Maybe they get them ready for that game instead of seeing them this first preseason game.
Regardless, if he touches the field, I need Biotish as his center. That's first team. I need my first team offensive line out there to protect this first team guy. Yeah. And if he throwing the ball, I want him to be throwing the ball to the first team wide receiver, handing it off to the first team running back. It's just one of those things. I can only insulate him with protection by letting the first team do the protecting.
I think that's a great point that Tanner brings up too. It's just like if you want to see him with the ones, like let the ones run, get them a drive or two. Yeah. I remember Mike used to say, and Kyle and Sean used to say the same thing. It's like, hey, if we score on our first drive, you're going to be done.
Out of there.
Like go do it.
Get me out the game, coach.
The hard part is you're so amped up. And you're so nervous. Usually, you go 3 and out. You got to go back over the sideline, and then your second drive is the one you score.
I've been saying, but then that's kind of hefty too because you got the pants dirty.
Yeah.
Now let's go out here, guys, and let's drive this ball down.
You done calm down. Because I remember I had a game plan. Like you actually, I don't know if we asked this question, but like I had a serious game plan. I wanted to be in there for as many plays that the ones was gonna be in. And I wanted to catch. That was my game plan. Give me a catch. Let me get these butterflies out now.
Yeah.
I get it. Once I got that catch, I ain't want more than one. But I've been in some preseason game where I caught 4 or 5, But I get that one, okay, I seen enough, coach. Let me go on ahead and go by my business.
This is what I used to love. I love starting the game on defense, but I want them to sweep the ball my way.
Mm-hmm. So really?
I want to get dirty.
Yeah.
Like I want to. First of all, I want to try to run. Hey, listen, y'all can sit here and tell all you want to. I played the run very well. All my defensive coaches tell you. I played them. Nobody turned my corner.
The reason I know why Jason laughed. I laughed.
That was Jason. I seen him over there again.
I laughed because like it's just such an unexpected answer. I know you played good football. I know you're a tough football player, but it just is not what people expect. I think of you, or at least what I expect.
Yeah, I want them to turn. I want them to try to turn the corner. So now I feel like I'm a part of the football game.
Yeah.
Forget just coming out here on this freeway and covering the wide receiver. The football game still got to be played.
Yeah.
And once I got dirty, I used to roll around in the grade. I'd be like, yeah, now I'm ready to play some football.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's something to it, like something to being involved in that physical action early.
Yeah.
Like, cause like you've been in pads. So I remember I had a game against Tampa. It was our first preseason game, and I pulled out to cut the corner. You just made me think of it. And I was running out there, and I'm like, I'm gonna smoke this dude, cause like all camp,
you don't get a chance.
You can smoke him, right?
Yeah.
But like also they can cut you now.
Oh yes.
And so that dude came down and put me face first into the turf, and I was like, forgot about that one, coach. gotta reevaluate my contact rules here. But so that's another reason for preseason is like you're getting back in it, tackling, blocking, cutting, all that kind of stuff, because it's live and in living color. So now let's talk about the most important part of this podcast. And that's game predictions. Who is going to win this preseason game? I can't even do it with a straight face. And does it matter? Here we go.
The fans for the Washington gonna win, and the fans for the Jets gonna win. Yeah. They are so hyped up in the Jets fans to see Aaron out there again, and we so hyped up about our new draft pick. And they not gonna play. Right? And they not.
So they're not winning, really.
No, that's why I say the fans win because football is back.
Football's back.
Football is back.
They don't win. They don't see they got. They gonna be booing.
I'm just saying. Yeah, it'll probably be what's the dude the Jets got up there? Fire Marshal Beal.
Yeah. What's his name? The guy with the hat. What's his name?
Trust me, I played in New York, bro. And those Jet fans are brutal. You hear me? So, I hope they tell them early that Rodgers not playing, because I don't want to hear them a guy that are booing in the preseason game.
They told him 3 days ago.
Yeah, they already told him.
They can put the presser out early just to get there.
They better.
So, again, fans win. I think that's 100% right. Yeah. Does it matter?
Does it matter? No.
Okay.
No. And I tell you why.
Thank you.
I want to see us moving in the direction that I want to see us moving in. I want to see progress from
Look
practice.
Like a football team.
Yeah, bingo. I told you, I already said everything I want to see when it comes to the lineman assignment, all that stuff, getting out the huddle. And I just want to see guys execute.
Look sharp.
Execute. Move the ball. Score when we have opportunity to score. That's a win for me.
Yeah, I think that's 100%. And in defense, I want to see
turn the ball over.
Guys locked in. Turn the ball over. Guys locked in. Can we create pressure? Guys winning one-on-ones. Like that to me is a successful preseason.
Yeah, just play football.
And when you're watching it, it's going to go in tiers. It's going to go first group, 15 plays.
Yeah.
And then my evaluation changes.
Yes.
Because that's like real offense. Then we got to go twos. How the backups look, what's going on, who's going to make a name for themselves, who's going to make the roster, kind of like what you were talking about, Fred. Like some of those matches.
There's always one or two players that make their name in this preseason.
Yeah.
I call it pulling a Victor Cruz. Right?
Oh, yeah.
They're pulling a Victor Cruz. Just show up, before you know it, you'll never forget my name.
You know, those threes and fours, all that stuff go out the door. They playing a real game.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, we playing for our check. We
playing for a chance.
We playing for a chance to be there next week too, because a lot of guys be going after this first game.
They won't make it.
So it's one of those things like that first preseason game. Once that halftime over with, that group of guys come in, man. Hey, this is a live game.
And you watch some dudes like pouring it out. Like you stand on the sideline, right? And you watch like defensive like threes, and dudes like when the check's on the line, you're gonna see some dudes pour it out.
Oh, no, listen, they're gonna look at you and they're gonna transform from whatever they used to be to the animal that's inside of them.
I remember we had that dude Baghdad. Remember when Baghdad he was a receiver? What his name was?
Ross?
No. This is before then. He was 2010. I'm talking about 2010. 2000. Yeah, it was 2010, I believe. Rookie, he would come in that thing and go deep, and we'd be like, and every week we wanted to get him in the game. When he got in the game, he was going deep on you, man.
And we do like really form a friendship with these guys,
and you care about them.
Yeah, you care about them, man.
You care about them 100%. So, in that path, in that direction. Give me a sleeper, man of the match, someone you're like, man, I hope this guy
shows the world.
Shows out, or maybe you think he's going to have a good game. I don't know how you want to take that whatever direction you want.
Let me see.
You want me to start us off?
I'm going with one. I'm going because I like this guy. I'm an 83. Marcus what is
Rosemead Jack Saint.
Rosemead Jack Saint.
Yeah.
Jack Saint showed me something the first mini camp.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's kind of hard pickings out here, tough pickings out here right now because there's so many other guys probably getting opportunities. But he's going to be a guy that's going to get a chance to probably play more in the preseason, especially this first game. And I think he's one of those guys, man, he's going to take it really serious. He comes with that mentality, that hard hat and lunch pail type of mentality.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see him going out there making a name for himself.
I'm going to go Andrew Jones Jr.
Andre.
I want him to play. I said Andrew.
I know what you said.
I think every time he say Andrew Jackson.
Because when I said Andre the first time, you like, Andre.
Nah, you said Andrew.
You said Andrew.
I don't know what the hell.
Don't be putting that on me like that.
Andre Jones Jr.
Why don't you're putting his name in quotes?
Now you're going to put it in quotations by his name.
It's like his nickname. It's like,
I want to see him as a draft pick last year and really get to show himself.
Yeah.
I
He's got juice.
I want to see him say, you know what? I know y'all drafted me last year. Don't forget about me.
Yeah.
I can play some football. Jones Jr.
Gosh, I really love both those because those are really good selections. I'm gonna say like 5 people because I can't keep myself to one.
You happen to say your AD?
Yeah, my ADHD is just too strong. I'm gonna say Bryson Tremaine for sure.
I like that one.
Mitchell Tinsley.
All right,
I want to see him. They're the same kind of vote, right?
All right.
Guys are gonna make
2 wide receivers.
Yeah. I want to see Norrell Pollard. That little sawed-off dude from Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
He was such a good pass rusher.
D lineman, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Such a good pass rusher in college. He's going to get lined up against somebody who thinks he's a slouch. He's going to have like 3 sacks.
Yeah.
Can't wait
All right,
for that.
nice. I
and
like
then,
that one.
Chinogi. Oh, man.
Go on, do it. Say it.
Chinogi. Nope.
Go on, do it. Give it all to me.
Anusium. Number 23 is that big cornerback from Colorado State. I want to see what he looks like. So those are 4 guys that I want to I think are going to have good performances. I'm excited to watch them.
It ain't too many names you run into that you can't pronounce. I enjoyed seeing you struggling right there. I really did. To the point that you didn't even say his first name. You just said, you know what, Anusium. Anusium.
Yeah, I'm not going to go for it. The I-G-O-Z-I is the thing that gets me. See, it's C-H-I-G-O-Z-I-E.
Yeah.
Give it a shot, Tana?
Hell no.
Hell no.
Chikazooey?
No. Stop it.
Well,
he don't care. He gonna just say so.
Chikazooey or Namzu?
Chicken dang.
Sorry. Well, next podcast
we gonna find out, man. We gonna
I'll say it correctly. So, but guys, thanks a lot for the support. Make sure you guys go out and vote. Remember those check your email. Quarter, you guys get to vote again.
Yep.
And keep this thing rolling for the podcast. And looking forward to the joint practice in the preseason. And that's going to do it. That's it.
Peace.
Anusium.